customers, the type of customers the firm wants to create that value for. What is the price of that value? What types of revenue sources it pursues? The activities that create customer value as a system, the implementation of the activities and value creation, the capability to create that value, and the strategy to sustain the competitive edge or advantage the firm may have in creating that value. So, if for intuitions framework, I identify these. The business model is made up of the customer value, the cost scope, the pricing, the revenue source, the capabilities, connected activities, implementation, and sustainability. However, this conceptual model details a number of components, which is sometimes very difficult to understand because the interrelationships between these elements are not stressed. However, pricing may influence scope, and pricing can be influenced by revenue source. Capabilities that exist in a firm can even define how much customer value you can create at a given point in time, and how sustainable you can make your model be, or sustainable you can make your competitive edge be. So sometimes we may say that this particular framework, though it abstracts the different components of a business model, it doesn't give us an understanding of the interrelationship between the components of the model. Hence, one other researcher called Pengao who is in Manchester, University of Manchester, tried to categorize these 8 factors or these 8 components into value, firm's capability, and supporting capability. Into these three groups or 3 categories. These condensed 3 groups helps to define how a firm may create its business model. So the value, meaning the value to the customers, the scope, and the pricing. Then the value to the firm in terms of cost, revenue, and sustainability. The firm's capability in creating that value, and the supporting capability, that's the boundary activities or the external activities that would exist which may exist in the firm's environment that may support the firm's capability to create that value. So this is more value focused and resource based, and this is how it is conceptualized, that there's an interrelationship between the value, the firm's capability, and the firm's boundary in order to create the business model. These interrelated groups of elements can be studied from different perspectives. One can just study the value creation, another person can study the firm's capability, another person can study the firm's boundary. Now, in studying the value, you may do a value analysis. That's envision what value will be created in the market, and then how can you differentiate that value from that of other competitors. Exploring the firm's capability. How does your business model exploit your own key resources? What key resources do you even have? How do you create these key resources? That's creating capabilities. How do you access enough resources to be able to exploit your own capability? What are the boundaries of your capability? Continuously reasoning among these dimensions enable a firm to have a unique business model in the marketplace. So, the business model then becomes a function of the value, the capability, and the boundary. One business model may distinguish itself from others by any of the dimensions or any one aspect of them. Now, to evaluate a business model, one has to balance between all these 3 components and continuously juggle them to be able to have a unique offering in the marketplace. So how does IT integrate with our business model? Now, the business model itself exists in an environment, so you should know that before IT even comes to play, the environment influences the business model. So what does IT do? The business model is subject to exogenous variables, one being the internet or information technology, and another being the environment. In analyzing a technology-based or a technology-supported business model, we ask ourselves, what opportunities can the firm get from technology to support the business model? What In what micro environment does the firm want to compete, and what in micro in and what type, how can the technologies also influence the environment in influencing the business model? Now we are going to look at different examples of how to understand and do this analysis of the of our business model. We need to understand how do we analyze the technology environment. How do you analyze the environment? How do you analyze the value? How do you analyze the firm? How do you analyze the firm boundaries? Now we'll pick a few of the frameworks to look at the firm and its boundary. Then we'll pick another framework to look at the value that can be created. So that takes us to our next stage: information systems, business models, and strategies. Information systems, business models, and what is a strategic information system? A strategic information system is an information system that enables a firm to create a strategic edge or develop a strategic edge in its marketing environment. So when information systems come into a firm, they may change the firm's goals, operations, products, services, and even the nature of its environmental relationships. Now, the manner in which a firm adopts, manages, and deploys the information systems can enable the firm gain a competitive advantage. So, by use of information system, the firm can deliver different competitive strategies. One can be a low-cost producer, differentiate its products or service, or change the scope of competition by enlarging or narrowing the market. How can this thing be done? So we'll look at it from the firm's capability and the firm's boundary. We'll pick one model or one theory that can help us to evaluate the firm's capability and the firm's boundary. Now, this is the resource-based theory. The resource-based theory is a strategic management theory that has been used and applied in different disciplines, including marketing, e-commerce, and sales, production, manufacturing, and diverse disciplines in business. Now, what is a resource? Resources can be defined as assets and capabilities for detecting and responding to the market opportunities and threats. Assets themselves are considered as anything tangible or intangible which a firm uses in its process of creating or producing or offering its products at the market, whereas capabilities are seen as the repeatable patterns of actions in the use of assets to create, produce, or offer products to a marketplace. Now, Barney, who came up with the concepts, kind of argues that or postulates that in order to enable a firm to use its resources to achieve competitive advantage, the resources have to be heterogeneous and immobile. What does it mean? That means that the resources have to have 4 key attributes which enable the resources to support the firm in keeping and maintaining its competitive advantage. What are these key attributes? Barney talks about the fact that the resource has to be valuable. That means that it should enable the firm to generate some rents or achieve value or achieve profits in generating or creating a unique offering or a value proposition for its customer. So whatever the firm does, whether it delivers services, there has to be some value. It has to be valuable. That there has to be some profits that is being gained by the firm. Secondly, the resource itself has to be rare. Not rare in terms of its distribution across the firms, but rare in terms of its functionality or the functionality that is created around it. For example, if you take an information system that can be pitched out, or the latest information systems, or a latest computer, if you buy it and you think that is what is generating competitive advantage for you, that one may give you just a comparative advantage. It may just last economic survival. It may just last for a few months in the marketplace. Some of your competitors may find out that you bought a particular machine. They may go out there and also use other means, whether capital or networks, to be able to obtain or acquire the same computer. And then when they get the same computer, they may